Welcome to the Traveling Cheesehead Podcast, where real stories, local voices, and unforgettable destinations come together. This is Destination Diaries, conversations with people who know their destinations best.
Hi friends, I'm Dannelle Gay, the Traveling Cheesehead. Travel writer, TV host, and someone who believes the best trips don't start with a bucket list, they start with a conversation. Every week, I sit down with someone who knows their destination inside and out to uncover the stories, flavors, and experiences that make it truly worth the trip. After the break, you'll meet this week's guest. So grab a cup of coffee, of course in your travel mug, and let's hit the road. We're back, so buckle up and get ready for a fun ride. We're going to a place that I absolutely love to visit. So I want to introduce my guest for today. I'm thrilled to be joined by Josh Duke, and he is from Visit Hendricks County in beautiful Indiana. So Josh, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Now, I'm so glad you're here. Before we dive into the fun stuff, why don't you tell our listeners a little bit about yourself and what you do that helps make Hendricks County such a fabulous place to visit?
Absolutely. I am the Senior Communications Manager at Visit Hendricks County. I oversee all of our media PR efforts as well. We have an insider program that I oversee. It's both bloggers and we now have short form video content creators as part of that as well. And that is the insider program is all locals who do that. And we have a dozen now that do that for us. So it's a very popular and big program for us. And I thought I would tell you a little bit about where Hendricks County is for your listeners. So we are in central Indiana. We are a western suburb of Indianapolis. So if you fly into Indianapolis to the Indianapolis International Airport, you are right on our border.
Fabulous. All right, we're going to jump into the questions. What makes your destination special? The thing that really surprises most first-time visitors that maybe they don't expect when they arrive, but end up talking about long after they leave?
I think for Hendricks County, it's really it's a combination of the people and the hidden gems that we have, I think are what resonate most when people come into our county. And just to give you a couple of anecdotes that help tell that story. So we just hired a new ad agency last year, and their first visit to our county included a visit to Oasis Diner the night before they met with us. And during that visit, a local couple stopped to say hi to them as they were on their way out the door. And the couple just asked them where they're from and what brought them to Plainfield. And they just welcomed them and suggested a few other things to see while they were in town. So it's just the type of interaction you have with our residents and kind of represents our brand well. You also kind of see it with our partners, willing to do whatever they can for the betterment of our. And that is some visitors have noticed too when we've had visitors come in and respond to that. And I'm sure your listeners have probably at least heard of Hoosier Hospitality, but there really is no better place to authentically experience it than right here in our county. And then as far as the hidden gems part of that, we have a park in our county that you would think is nowhere near civilization, despite us being a suburb of Indianapolis. It's McLeod Nature Park, and it's been recognized nationally for its fall color and its beautiful vistas on its natural hiking trails. And we've had, I don't know if you've been there or not, Dannelle, but we have Winking Acres Farm Rescue and Sanctuary. That's very
yes.
popular. I thought you had been there before, but it was started by a then high school student, and it's just a passion project for her. She is very passionate about potbelly pigs, so it's mostly potbelly pigs, though they have other farm animals, and they offer tours there, and it has just been a big hit. We have a small town Italian eatery named Pirello's Pizzeria that only accepts cash, and it's owned by a man who is originally from Sicily. You just would never think you would find that in a small North Salem, Indiana town. And then we have a mother-daughter operation. I'm sure you've been there as well, the Breadbasket Cafe and Bakery that's received national recognition for best breakfast in the state. It's also regionally known for its breads and its desserts, which I know you've tried. So just an example. I mean, and we have many more, but those are just a few examples of just some of the hidden gems that we have that in some cases, some of our locals don't even know about. They're so hidden. And then as well as just the people and the friendliness that you'll encounter.
It's always funny how people, like, I'll go to a destination and check into the hotel, and the clerk's like, "Why are you here?" I'm like, "Well, I'm a travel writer." there's nothing to see here. And I'm like, really? Let me tell you about my itinerary. They have me going here, 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 here. They're like, crap, that's in our backyard? I'm like, uh-huh. So a lot of
Nobody
people
ever thinks their backyard is a destination. Nobody
no,
ever.
and that's like the best place to start when you're adventuring, I think. But if anybody else is starting to drool about, you talked about the Breadbasket Cafe or the pig rescue, I think that Oinking Acres is fabulous. I actually shot a TV show there, and I'm going to link it in the show comments so that you can go ahead and see visually some of the things that we're going to probably be talking about today. So that takes us then to our weekend warriors. We know that people love to, on the weekend, get out and drive. I talk about this a lot on my Wisconsin Road Trips Facebook group even. Let's say someone only has 48 hours to be in your area. What would the perfect 2-day itinerary look like? Things that they absolutely must see, must do, or maybe must experience, kind of the highlights.
Yeah, it's such a hard question because, as you know, having been here, it really, and I have this trouble even with travel writers who come in because it really depends on what their interests are. Is it a family versus a couple? What time of year are you coming? All of that plays into what I would recommend. But taking all that out of the equation, because you asked the question and I got to answer the question as asked, I'm actually going to give you two kind of differing itineraries. And I'm just picking out 3 places for each one, which probably you would need more for the 48 hours. We have a lot of places to eat. So beyond what I mentioned, there would be other things. And if anyone is coming into our area and wants a high-level itinerary or recommendation, feel free to reach out to me or reach out to Visit Hendricks County. We'd be happy to help with that. But an afternoon at Beasley's Orchard, for sure, would be something that I would recommend. And depending on the time of year, I mean, if you're here in the summertime, they have strawberry picking and raspberry picking, and they have zinnias and they have sunflower fields. So the summer, they're getting known more and more as a summer destination because when they first started, it was fall. And so now their summers have really picked up. And then, of course, in the fall, then they have the apple picking at the orchard. They have the pumpkins. They grow pumpkins, and you can take hay rides out to the pumpkins. They have all kinds of kids' activities. You can shoot apple cannons, and we'll get into that more later on another question that I know you're going to ask me. But Beasley's Orchard would definitely, you'd want to spend an afternoon there. I would highly recommend enjoying, planning ahead, enjoying a performance at Hendricks Live, which is our fairly new entertainment venue. They have live performances there, concerts. They had Andy Grammer there, but it's a 600-seat theater, so it's very intimate. And so they have a lot of tribute artists that come in, comedians, all kinds of performances. So that is a great venue for us. And it's, like I said, their first season was 2024, so they're fairly new and still kind of learning what works and doesn't work. And then right basically across the street from Hendricks Live is the Pruitt Restaurant and Lounge. And it is a former movie theater, over 100-year-old movie theater in downtown Plainfield that they have renovated and turned into a fine dining restaurant. And depending on how many times you go, you could go one time and you could sit on the main level. And if it's a weekday, they'll have old movies playing on the big screen, just like because they preserved a lot of the movie theater feel to it. And if you're there on weekends, they pull the screen up and there's a stage back there and they'll have live music playing on stage. And then you come another time, you might end up getting seated on the second floor, and it's kind of has a speakeasy vibe, kind of away from the whole theater feel. In the summertime, if you're at the Pruitt Restaurant and Lounge, you can also go to the rooftop patio. And on the rooftop patio, they have seating there, and they actually have a little stage there where you can enjoy live music as well. So it's also another great way to enjoy that restaurant. So depending on where you get seated, you can have a whole different experience each time. But then, if it was a family, my answer would completely change. Family, I would highly recommend it in the summertime. Splash Island Family Water Park is a great summertime destination. They have 6 or 7 water slides, I think now. They have a leisure river. They have cabanas that you can rent out for the day. So that's definitely a place where a family can spend an entire day. Highly recommend then getting a meal at either the Mayberry Cafe, Oasis Diner, or both. Mayberry Cafe is on the square in Danville. Danville is our county seat, and so it's in the geographic center of our county. And the Mayberry is in Andy Griffith's show themed restaurant that people from all over the world who are fans of the show come and see. You can get your picture taken with the deputy car outside. They have the show running 24/7 inside. They have menu items named after the show, memorabilia inside. It's just a wonderful place for families and people who love the show. The Oasis Diner is one of the last remaining diners on the old National Road, which is also US 40. And it is a preserved 1954 diner that was shipped out here from New Jersey, built in New Jersey, shipped out here to Plainfield. And so it's just a great place for a meal as well. And then there are the fun places like we now have Slick City Action Park, which is brand new for us, brand new last year. The way we describe it is it's kind of it's an indoor play area, but it's kind of water slides without the water, if you will. So
Okay.
That's the best way to describe it. We also have Press Play Gaming Lounge, which is huge. They huge into virtual reality, a lot of virtual reality experiences there. And then Winking Acres is a great place for families to kind of just go and spend a couple hours touring the farm, learning more about agritourism and learning more about what she does there to rescue the potbelly pigs and all the other farm animals there. So it's a long-winded answer for a very simple question, but there's so many things to see and do and it just really depends on who it is I'm recommending them to.
Well, and you were really good about, making that clarification. I did a show in season 1 on travel themes. So you can't have like this giant checklist and expect to do everything in a destination. You need to figure out, are you a history person, a foodie, an outdoor experience? Pick your main theme and then 1 or 2 to accompany with it, so that it makes it easier when we come to someone like you and say, oh, I am a history loving foodie. What is the best, kind of things for me to see and do in your area? It makes your job easier. And I'll drop the link to that in the show comments again, everybody, just in case, you've forgotten that, but it does make it easier when they're helping us figure out what and how best we personally can enjoy their destination.
Yep.
And, the food at the Pruitt and the upstairs, when you talked about the speakeasy vibe, absolutely incredible. The Oasis Diner has great desserts. They're all in those like domes on the cake stands on the counter, and the burgers freaking huge.
They also do their own sodas there. You can get butterscotch root beer, which is Oasis favorite. So yes.
And I even ate at the other place that you were talking about,
Mayberry.
the Mayberry Cafe, which it's just cute and kitschy. But the shops down in the area are a lot of great ideas and things like that in the shops too. So good stuff.
Yep.
Now that takes me to food, because it's such, I think, a huge part of travel. It ties into the history of the area, the people, the traditions. What's one local food or drink that visitors should absolutely try, and where should they go to get the real deal in your area?
So I am going to just leave it as one because I've already mentioned a few of our restaurants. So I will just make it one, although in Hendricks County, we're really known for our dining destinations. We have a lot of really good ones. But if I was going to limit it to one, my one would be Rusted Silo Southern Barbecue and Brew House, which I know Dannelle has tasted herself.
Oh, yes.
So just a little background about Rusted Silo, because I think it's important for your listeners. Rob Ecker is the owner. He is a former Disney chef. He's just an amazing gentleman. We were lucky enough that he chose our county, and it's in tiny little Lizton, Indiana, the only Lizton in the United States, by the way. And he does amazing barbecue. And you go in there, and it's well, first of all, the outside of the restaurant is just everything that you would expect from just a down-home, small-town barbecue restaurant. Is this little shack. We call it the Shack by the Tracks. It's right next to a railroad track. Shack by the Tracks. If you didn't know what it was and you were just passing by, you would probably not want to go in there just because it might scare you a little bit. It's kind of rusty. It's kind of, and it's the whole vibe that he was going for. But you step inside there and those barbecue smells hit you. And actually behind the main counter, they have what they call a Ferris wheel of meat, and it just goes around and around. So all of the barbecue is cooked over an open fire with the Ferris wheel of meat going over and over. Just a great picture, great experience. It's one of those things that I know in your writing of it and in people, even when they video it, you almost need the smell-o-vision to really tell the full story of Rusted Silo. But even beyond the barbecue, which is amazing, they have all of the southern side dishes that you would expect, the collard greens and the grits and those kinds of things. Ranch beans, which is kind of, it reminds me of a kind of a chili. But then the desserts too.
Oh.
They have Nanner's, how does he pronounce that? Mama Nanner's banana pudding. I'm butchering it, but anyway, he has this banana pudding that's his grandmother's recipe, and also pecan pie that another travel writer who came into our county, she literally, and I'm not making this up, she started crying at the table as she took her first bite of that pecan pie. And I said, Teresa, are you okay? And she kind of wiped the tear away and said, this is the closest pecan pie I've ever had to my late grandmother's pecan pie. And she was just flooded with all those childhood memories of eating her grandmother's pecan pie. And it's those kind of experiences and those kinds of stories that I think it's important for your listeners to know that they, and Rusted Silo is right off of Interstate 74, but they need to get off the interstates and they need to explore these small towns.
Exactly.
And the people that run them, because they are great people, and you can find some of the best places you'll ever visit just by getting off that main highway.
The door of Rusted Silo, I mean, when you're just opening the door, the aroma, the wood smoke, the meats that are caramelizing, I mean, all of that just hits your nose just by opening the door, and you know you're walking into amazing. On the TV show that, if you watched it, I've got linked in the comments, I show you the pecan pie and the banana pudding, and I said, how do you choose? You don't. You have one of each. But oh, so incredible. Yes.
And it's tiny inside too. It's not very much seating. There's probably enough seating for 20 to 30, and that's how he wants it to be. It's by design. The whole inside of it, he like took down pieces from local barns and kind of, designed the inside of it. It was, I think it was a liquor store before he purchased it and turned it into a restaurant. And so it's just everything that you would expect from a barbecue restaurant, or at least everything I would expect from a barbecue restaurant. So.
But there's picnic tables outside. So
Sure.
When you get your barbecue, you can have it in a box, then you can take it outside. And maybe if you're lucky enough, the train will go by. It is a whole Southern vibe and experience, but the food is, oh my gosh, roll your eyes up in the back of the head, slap your mama, delicious. I mean, just wow.
And for those who would say barbecue in Indiana, no, he's from the South. He grew up in the South, so he's bringing the South up here.
Yes, and it's just, okay, I'm drooling right now. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to take this over to a different direction. Tell us about a piece of hidden history or a story from your area that most visitors don't know, but probably should.
So I have two quick stories. One, maybe a lot of our locals wouldn't even know, and one they certainly would. So the first one is I'm going to take you back to 1842. Back in 1842, Martin Van Buren was running for re-election for president of the United States. And as he was campaigning for re-election, he was by horse carriage traveling the United States. Well, he was traveling through Plainfield on his re-election bid campaign, and the people of Plainfield. So a little bit about Plainfield. They are like the high school's Plainfield Quakers. Quakers are the mascot. So it's a Quaker heritage there at Plainfield. The Quakers kind of started Plainfield. They were not happy with his decision to not work on the old national road that goes through Plainfield. And so they made sure to kind of place a carriage just in the right place that would move his carriage over so that it went over a tree root. Carriage toppled over of the old national road. And so that was their way of saying, we're not happy with you not funding these road repairs, and we're going to make you go into this, it wasn't paved then or even gravel. We're going to make you go through this pothole and over this tree root and topple your carriage over. And so there's actually, the tree is no longer there, but there is a rock with a plaque that says this is where the Van Buren Elm is. And there's actually a school, Van Buren Elementary, as well in Plainfield. So Martin Van Buren has some ties through that to Plainfield. So that's one. And I don't know if even a lot of locals know that story. So that's just a fun story. And so if you're ever going through Plainfield, and you can stop by and see the rock with the Van Buren Elm where it used to stand. And then the other one, and I don't know if we took you past here. I don't think we probably did, Dannelle. The Avon Haunted Bridge is very well known in our county. It is the most read blog post every year on our blog that our insiders do. The legend of the Avon Haunted Bridge. And it's just numerous local myths and legends about this iconic bridge. It has this unique architecture that kind of gives it a little bit of a spooky vibe, but also a very unique look to it. And I think those are kind of where the stories came from, but it's just an interesting place. And there's a lot of local myths about it. So
How
those
fun.
can come see the Avon Haunted Bridge.
Now, if visitors really want to meet locals and feel a part of the community, not just pass through, where should they go or what should they do?
Well, they could truly go anywhere because, as I said before, it's the people that kind of that makes the county stand out. But the place that jumped to mind is the Hendricks County Courthouse Square in Danville, which I've already mentioned before. That's where the Mayberry is. We've had people compare a courthouse to the one you see on the movie Back to the Future. We had some travel agents from Dublin, Ireland, come in on a visit when Indianapolis got a direct flight to Dublin. And so travel agents will come learning about the Indianapolis area so that they could sell it to their clients. And so that we kind of took them through one alley, and then the alley opened up and there's the county courthouse. And they was like, this is just like Back to the Future. We've also had our square compared to a backdrop for a Hallmark movie set. I mentioned the Mayberry Cafe on one corner, so it kind of has that Mayberry vibe as well. As a fictional, it's the Mayberry being the fictional setting for the Andy Griffith Show, and really all of that's so flattering. But it's really the friendly people you encounter in the shops and the restaurants, and while strolling on the sidewalks, that really make it a truly memorable and any visitor feel like they're part of the community. So that would probably be my answer.
I love it when I find communities where when you're in the community itself, it just feels like it's a giant hug from a friend. And some people call it, Midwest nice, Hoosier hospitality, whatever. Not every place has that. So when I find a place that does have that, I love to share that and talk about it more. And definitely your area has that. So, and when you were saying memorable, travel doesn't have to be expensive to be memorable. I know times are tight for several people, but they still need to get out and, relax, take little vacations, even if they're mini ones. What's a great way to explore your area on a budget?
Yeah, so some of the places that come to mind. So again, going back to the Hendricks County Courthouse Square in Danville, on another side opposite of the Mayberry, there's the Royal Theater there. And it's over 100 years old. It's a family-friendly theater, so it's one screen, and they pretty much only show family-friendly movies on it. But a ticket is only $5. Even the concessions are way cheaper than what we're used to paying at a traditional theater. So that would be a great way. It could be part of kind of strolling around the square there. Getting to visit, you can walk through the shops and take in some of the shops. You don't have to buy something. We'd love for you to buy something, but you don't have to. But then, planning your trip around, then, stopping in, making sure that you stop in the Royal Theater. So that's one that came to mind. We have a fairly new attraction in our county. We used to have a place called Brownsburg Bowl, and it was just one of your traditional small town bowling alleys, kind of smoky and not a lot to it. And we had new ownership come in, and they completely reimagined it and turned it into a family entertainment center called Pinheads. And so it has bowling, as well as they now have duck pin bowling in there. They have a big arcade area. They've added a restaurant inside of the building. They have an upstairs that's kind of hidden away, and it has a little speakeasy up there, as well as a full bar that groups can rent out. And then they actually have their own bowling alleys up there as well, the private bowling alleys just for people that rent out that space. And they're planning on adding more things around the outside of it, some miniature golf and that kind of thing outside. But what I was going to say about Pinheads that makes it affordable is if you plan it right, they do have half price days at Pinheads. So that was something that came to mind, that if you wanted to save some dollars, you could go to the half price days and still get a lot of great family entertainment and hours of fun. And then, of course, our parks are a good way. I mentioned McLeod already. We have a lot of natural parks. Another park that I wanted to specifically mention is Avon Town Hall Park. They have a disc golf course out there that's free to use. They have outdoor ping pong tables that are free to use. They have a fishing pond if you bring your poles and that kind of thing, and you can take a picnic there and just enjoy a whole afternoon there. And then we have the last thing that I'll mention is we have Avon Gardens. I don't know if Dannelle, if you've been to Avon Gardens or not.
I don't think so. We were going to do an outdoor experience, but the tornadoes had gone through, and there was cleanup that needed to be done, and so it probably wasn't safe for us to go. I think you missed
Beasley's Orchard as well because of that. I think
so.
Yeah. So anyway, Avon Gardens is free to just explore their gardens, and it was a former pig farm that over the year, and that dates back 20, 25 years ago, but over the years, a woman named Karen Robbins, who's no longer with us actually, she reimagined that land and just slowly over the years turned it into this garden space that has been recognized in Midwest Living magazine as the best gardens in the state of Indiana. And it's just, you can get a lot of inspiration in there. It's just very tranquil. It just completely changes your mood to get to see the waterfalls and the plants and the flowers and the birds and the bees and everything that goes with that. It's a very popular destination for outdoor weddings and other outdoor events. And so it's just a beautiful, beautiful place that is just free to stroll.
Well, and I think connecting with nature, grounding yourself, little screen-free, tech-free time, getting out in nature is so important. We all get so busy, and there's not a whole lot of good stuff on social media right now. I mean, we're not going to get into politics or anything like that, but getting away from it all and stepping into nature, I think, is something that is so important for all of us, especially right now.
I agree.
Well, that takes us to our last question. What's your favorite only here experience, something visitors truly can't do anywhere else but Hendricks County, Indiana?
I have 3, but I'll make them quick, I promise. So
I bet I know one.
And the reason that there are 3 is because one thing that I know Dannelle, about our destination, about Hendricks County, and that hopefully coming out of this your listeners will know, is we have a lot of niche attractions within our destination. So I'm going to mention 3 of those. One I've already mentioned, Mayberry Cafe, Andy Griffith's show themed restaurant. Don't need to go into more details. Listen, go listen sooner in this, and you'll get all the information you need about the Mayberry Cafe. So I can speed through that one. And speaking of speed, we have the world's most prestigious drag racing event that happens every year in our destination. It's called U.S. Nationals. It's the NHRA, National Hot Rod Association, that puts it on. It's every Labor Day weekend. And as soon as I start talking about nationals and drag racing to travel writers like yourself or others who aren't into motorsports at all, their eyes start to glaze over. They quit listening. They don't want to hear it. And I'll tell a quick story just to get to the point of it. So Karen Locke, who I know is a travel writer from Ohio. And so Karen's been to our destination 2 or 3 times, absolutely loves it. She's a cheerleader for us, as you are. And I kept telling her, I said, Karen, you need to come back and you need to experience U.S. Nationals. And I did it every year for probably 5 years. And every time her eyes would roll back in her head and she goes, Josh, I've told you, I do not like racing. I don't want to do that. I tell you, you will love it. So finally I got her to come. I wore her down to a point that she actually came. And now she's a drag racing fanatic. And I'm not going to say that everybody that comes to U.S. Nationals will become a drag racing fanatic necessarily, but it is an experience that you have to do once in your life just to see, because it's not the traditional going around in a circle racing. It is, so two cars sitting side by side at a start line. The tree goes yellow, 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 green, and they take off. The nitro guys, they go 330 miles an hour down the drag strip. They go an eighth of a mile in 3.5 seconds. They are literally sitting on a rocket. And the way that I describe it, if you're sitting in the stands watching, when they go through, you not only hear it, which you have to wear earplugs or earmuffs or something. You need ear protection for sure. You not only hear it, you not only see it, but you feel it. It reverberates through your body. There's no other way to describe it. It's an experience unlike anything I've ever experienced, and I'm not a big motorsports fan myself. And then a ticket is also a pit pass. So people who come in, general admission ticket, they can walk through the pits, they can meet the drivers, get autographs, all of that. They have a lot of activities for kids. It's very family friendly. And so it is just an experience, one that I would highly recommend to anyone. And then the final one is we have the only museum and retail store in North America, and it might be the only one left in the world. Can't hold me to that, but it might be. We'd heard the one in London closed, but it's dedicated to the hit British television show Doctor Who. It's called Who North America. They do have a TARDIS inside that you can get your picture taken with, but it is for any Whovian. I know that fans of the show call themselves Whovians, so for any Whovian, it is definitely a destination. We had one person who was a Whovian. She had her wedding there. She lives in Hawaii, and she came all the way to Indiana just to have her wedding at Who North America.
Wow.
So, yeah, so those three would be the three that jump out to me just because how niche they are.
I knew the Hugh Museum was going to be in there. That is such an interesting experience. Yes, there's retail, but they have different things in there. Like you're saying, the TARDIS. They have a screening room that's dark. You can sit down and you can watch. They continually run stuff through. They have the museum part of it. It's really a fun place to visit. It
is. I actually did one of the blog posts we did a little scavenger hunt, find these things inside the Who Museum. And so they have like artifacts from the show in there. They have all kinds of stuff. It's just amazing. And if you are a fan of the show, if you can't find it there, whatever you're looking for, you're not going to find it anywhere. They have literally everything you can imagine to purchase in the retail portion of it.
So I'm going to throw like a little tagline out here for you. You haven't been to Hendricks County, Indiana, unless you have what?
I'm going to say shot an apple cannon at Beasley's Orchard while sipping on their award-winning cider or cider slushy, especially in the summer or fall. So they have these apple cannons. They're just these big hydraulic, like gun turrets almost. And they have targets that you can shoot at. And so you put an apple in it, hit the trigger, shoots the apple out, just the air compression shoots the apple out. And whenever it hits the target, the targets are kind of made out of steel. And so it makes that big thud and everybody goes crazy that you've hit the target. So it's just a lot of fun. And then their apple cider, they take a lot of pride in their apple cider. And it has won the best apple cider in the state of Indiana the past 3 years. And they also, during the summertime especially, but all times, they also turn it into a slushie, and that is amazing. So that would be my answer.
I don't know if I've ever had an apple cider slushy. That sounds incredible, especially
That
on a
was
hot
one of the
day.
places you didn't get to go. You're going to have to come back and go to Beasley's Orchard because that, like you said, the storm ran through there and knocked everything. And they were busy cleaning up the day that I had some of you guys in, and you didn't get to go.
Darn, I have to come back. Well, Josh, thank you so much for sharing your local expertise and insider tips with us today. It has been an absolute pleasure learning more. Yeah, I did learn more, even though I've been to your destination, Hendricks County, Indiana, and I'm sure our listeners are ready to plan their next adventure.
It's been truly an honor. Thank you for letting me do this.
Okay, for all you out there listening, if you ever find yourself in Indianapolis, detour over to Hendricks County. I love places like that. I call it hub and spoke. I mean, you can stay there. It's less expensive than the big towns.
And safer.
Indianapolis. But also explore that area. There's so many things to do and see, like Josh just shared with us. So to stay connected with Hendricks County, you're going to want to check out the show notes. I'll drop my TV show link in there for you. And that way you can stay up to date and get travel tips and learn more about the local stories. It'll all be at your fingertips. So Josh, thank you so much again.
Thank you, Dannelle. I really appreciate it.
If today's conversation made you think, yeah, I want to go there, then we have done our job.
You've been listening to the Traveling Cheesehead Podcast. Subscribe, leave a review, and share this episode with your best travel buddies. Check back for another Destination Diaries episode every week. Thanks for listening. This has been a Traveling Cheesehead production.
I'm Dannelle Gay, reminding you that adventure doesn't always mean far away. Sometimes it's just one great story away. See you on the road beyond the exits.